October 2024. My cat peed on my PC. Alright, let me set the scene here. I'm at the start of a rare 3-day weekend. It's a sunny Thursday afternoon, and I don't have to be back at work again until Monday. I got the Zaxby's Wings and Things meal with a half-sweet, half-unsweet iced tea. I'm ready to melt into my couch and play Final Fantasy IX with the Maguri mod and a reshade CRT filter. I've managed to dial in a blend of modern QOL and retro aesthetic that would make even the most discerning OG hardware snob on Reddit say, "Damn, that actually looks pretty good." I'm on disc 3, about 30 hours in, so the story is finally heating up. JRPG fans, if you know, you know. We're nearing the home stretch and my squad is in impeccable shape. Let's do this. You only get to play the 9th Final Fantasy for the 3rd time once. I pressed the spacebar on my wireless keyboard to wake my PC. Nothing. Oh yeah, the USB hub for the dongle is kinda janky sometimes. Let me reset that. Try the spacebar again. Nothing. I noticed the sleep LED isn't even blinking. Oh, it looks like it's actually off for some reason. Maybe we lost power while I was at work. Try the power button. Nothing. I check the power supply switch, I turn it off and back on, reseat the power cable. I do the same thing with the power strip, turn it off and back on again. Try the power button again. Still nothing. Why isn't my PC turning on? My food's getting cold at this point, so I stop to eat and do a bit of research on my phone. Afterwards, I'm sitting on the couch trying to figure out what's the most likely scenario. Did it get hit by lightning? Well, it's hooked up to a surge protector and all my other stuff in here still works, so that wouldn't make sense. It could just be a random component failure. It's a budget eBay PC using old parts from 2016, but I think that'd be unlikely without some sort of external cause. I don't know. Anything else happened in here recently? Oh yeah, there was that time my cat peed on the carpet when she wasn't able to get into the bathroom where her litter box is, and I left to play disc golf without realizing the door was closed. But I already cleaned that up, and she's been going in her box since then. Besides, that was like a week ago. Oh, me realizing the last time I even used my PC was a week ago. No way, cause that would mean, instead of just going on the carpet like I assumed, she would have had to literally go through the little air holes on the side panel of the case. Like, what are the odds of something like that? Pretty good, apparently. As I'm finally putting 2 and 2 together, I begin removing the panel, and I'm hit with the unmistakable smell. Very disastrous conclusion. That, she pissed on my PC and fried it. You can see on the graphics card, look at the sticker there. Some piss down there. I'm guessing the Mobo's fried. I don't know, like it won't turn on at all. There's a little light, little indicator light for the Ethernet, but otherwise it won't do anything. The fan won't turn on. I'm thinking about, taking it apart, cleaning it with some isopropyl, seeing what happens, but welp, I guess this is my night now. Part 2. Cleaning components, a rant on DIY tech repair hell, and knowing when to step away. Before replacing anything, let's see if it can be fixed by cleaning the components with alcohol. I'm not optimistic, but I gotta clean this case now either way, so I might as well. I was getting all my supplies and everything together, the IPA and the gloves, Q-tips, toothbrush, paper towels, all that, and then just noticed her just laying here without a care in the world. Yo, what's the problem? Your PC f***ed up? That's crazy. I don't know anything about that. I put the cover panel in the sink and spray it with some 409, then I leave it for the time being. Which, in retrospect, was a bad move, because that ended up making it look way worse. I can't even blame Houdini for that one. That's all me right there. I take out the graphics card, memory, CPU fan, and heatsink, start cleaning them with IPA. The motherboard looks mostly clean, so I just leave it in the case and spot clean it with Q-tips. I clean the dried urine from the bottom of the case, along with the top and sides as well, just to be sure. If you have a cat, you probably know that you need an enzyme-based cleaner to really get the job done, but All I had at the time was Thornell Cat Odor Off, which honestly isn't too bad, and it's way cheaper, so that's what I used. Now my PC smells like ginger and cinnamon. Afterwards, I let everything air out in front of a fan for a bit. It's close to midnight at this point. I hook it back up for a test, and you guessed it, nothing. Later that night, as I'm watching YouTube videos of people benchmarking liquid damaged GPUs after saving them with tools and skills I don't have, along with this video of someone literally cleaning motherboards in a dishwasher, I start to realize my 3-day weekend is in serious jeopardy if I don't call it right this second. If I keep this up, it'll be downgraded to a regular weekend, or worse, no weekend at all. I've already lost one night tearing it down and cleaning the components with no luck. I could easily lose more time to watching random repair videos and shopping around for replacement parts. Speaking of which, without spare parts on hand, there's really nothing I can do right now anyway, so researching in this case would be speculative at best. For the sake of my own sanity, we're done messing with it until the weekend is over.
We're done with that, so.
As much as I enjoy this kind of thing, there is nothing more disheartening than spending your holiday stuck in DIY tech repair hell, especially when the plan was to chill after a long week at work. My fellow DIY homies, you know this trap all too well, especially if you're stubborn like me. You start off thinking it'll be an easy fix or a fun little project, but then you start running into problems. Then it turns into days of research, trial and error, diagnosis, shopping for parts, or God forbid, trying the same steps again and hoping for a different result. When you think you're close to a solution, but it keeps eluding you and your precious time off slips right through your hands. Then you return to work feeling defeated because you wasted a perfectly good weekend and you still gotta finish what you started. I've been there too many times. But not today. I worked too hard, man. In the meantime, I told my brother about what happened and he's like, damn. I ask if I can borrow his laptop to play FF9 until I can get my computer fixed. He doesn't use it much anyway because he has that desktop, so he agrees. So I take the SSD out of my dead PC, plug it into his laptop, log into my Steam account, copy my save files over, install FF9 with all the mods I was using, plug into my TV, grab my controller, and kept on ballin'. Weekend saved. Shout out to my brother for that one. But let me keep it a stack here. Let me stand on business, if you will. If borrowing another PC wasn't an option, I would have gladly just done something else. Because anything is better than DIY tech repair hell on a 3-day weekend. Even this putt. So now we're back into the work week, feeling rested and recharged, and back to confronting reality. So cleaning with IPA didn't save it. You know what that means. Time to throw money at it. At this point, I'm deciding if I want to use this as an opportunity to upgrade a bit, or just keep my current specs. I didn't have much money in it to begin with, about $230 or so, and my brother gave me the graphics card for free when he upgraded, so it's tempting. That being said, this little budget rig had been holding up surprisingly well at whatever I've needed it to do. Which, admittedly, is just some 2000s to mid-2010s gaming, 1080p, 60 FPS, Bioshock, GTA 5, Halo, Rocket League, old JRPGs like FF9 and Trails, some retro game emulation, mostly NeoTurf Masters with CRT shaders, of course, along with the usual web browsing, email, YouTube, and some basic video editing. No sweat for this little i5 machine, and money's tight right now anyways, so with that in mind, I decided to just restore the current build. With used parts, I can probably keep it under 100. That brings me to my next question. Which part are we replacing first? Or could I be lucky and have multiple parts failing? Here's my assessment of each part so far, based on how they looked before and after cleaning. And then here's my very scientific rating scale. Toast, prob okay, okay. Graphics card, toast. It got the most P on it. By far. Motherboard, prob toast. Not much visible damage, but no signs of life except for the network port light. Memory, prob okay. Had a few drops on it, but I cleaned it well and it looked really good afterwards. CPU, okay. It was shielded from the P by the fan and heatsink. I seriously doubt anything's wrong with it. And then getting liquid damage while it was in sleep mode could really mean anything, since there was some power going through the system at the time. But just based on the visual condition and my last test, I'm thinking I'm going to have to replace the graphics card and the motherboard at a minimum.
New development appears!
My brother has an ultrasonic bath at his workplace, so he offers to take the 1050 Ti and give it a more proper cleaning. Neither of us have high hopes, but we figured it's worth a try since the option is there. Plus there's a bit of sentimental value because it had been his card originally, and it had been holding up for the better part of a decade. We were curious to see if it could be restored after getting so much pee on it. Even after I cleaned it twice with IPA, it still looked and smelled pretty rough. To our surprise, it comes back looking factory fresh with 0% cat pee smell, and we're both like, dang, this thing might actually still work. So that brings the GPU from toast status to prob OK status, and the plan starts taking shape. Since I believe the CPU, memory, and now the graphics card are still good at this point, I decide to replace the motherboard first and see if I can get a post with the onboard graphics. Then I'll install the clean 1050 Ti and see if that works too. If it doesn't, then I'll find a used one on eBay to replace it. Best case scenario, I'm up and running for less than $50 with a replacement board. Worst case, I'm spending closer to $120 to replace the board and the 1050 Ti after a decade of service. Press F to pay respects. RIP, my friend. Granted, this is all based on my current assumption that the CPU and RAM are still good. Foreshadowing.
You sure about that?
I start looking for deals on my motherboard and I find one on AliExpress for about $36 with free shipping. That takes about 3 weeks to come in, and once I finally have it, it suddenly occurs to me, should I still use this power supply? I mean, it's probably fine, but it could have gotten messed up too, you know? I wasn't there when Houdini did her thing, so I don't know for sure how it went down exactly. What I do know from playing guitar through tube amps is that power transformers can shit the bed in dramatic fashion without warning. So even if it does work, I don't want a potential fire hazard time bomb sitting in my rig. It's a small price to pay for peace of mind, so I decide to hold off on the repair until I can replace the power supply as well. I get a lucky find on eBay, the exact same power supply I was using, factory sealed from 2014, $25 with free shipping. I was thinking I'd have to find some old dusty one that's been in someone else's computer for years, so that was a nice surprise. Domestic shipping too, so I didn't have to wait as long as I did with the board. When that comes in, I finally have the trifecta of parts that I think I'll need. Motherboard, power supply, and of course, the freshly cleaned 1050 Ti. We're about $60 into this repair now, not too bad. It's January at this point. I didn't mess with it during the holiday season because I was working a lot and I was saving my money for gifts. Thankfully, my brother is still using his sick desktop most of the time and hasn't asked for his laptop back. But now that I have everything I need, it's time to get moving so I can get that back to him. I swapped the CPU over to the replacement MOBO and add new thermal paste. I install the new power supply and MOBO into the case. I get all the front panel jumpers connected, install the memory stick, connect the PC to the power strip and monitor, power supply on, power on, and nothing. Sort of. Well, we're getting a bit more life than last time. Fans are kicking on, the trace light's back on, but still no post. Damn. Time to do some more research, I guess. I find a Jay's 2 cents video where he's diagnosing a board that won't post. Like me, he started with some basics like clearing the CMOS and moving the memory stick to another slot. Still no post. Then he swapped in a lower powered graphics card to see if it was a power supply issue or maybe the card. 1050 Ti, same card as me. Still no post.
Yeah, I think this is gonna narrow down to motherboard or CPU.
CPU ended up fixing it.
It booted, so it is a CPU.
Then I found a similar video by Cyber CPU Tech, but it was a memory that fixed it instead of the CPU.
It looks like we have something, and there you go, now it's posted. So, clearly, we have a bad memory module.
In my case, I'm still not sure which one will get my board to work, so I decide to get both, see which one fixes it, and then return the other part. I find them both on eBay for about $60 total after tax and shipping. I also start a return request on the motherboard, because if the new CPU and memory don't get it to post, I can safely assume it's the board and send it back before my return window closes. We're officially over my original budget of $100, but I'm hopeful I'll be able to get some of that back once I figure out exactly what's wrong. I really don't want it to be the board because I'm not trying to start a 3-week international return process while I have to order yet another board in the meantime. I'm over it at this point. Between time spent waiting for parts, working overtime during the holidays, and of course good old procrastination, I somehow let 3 months pass and this thing still isn't fixed. I know I'm more capable than this. I built my first PC in high school when graphics cards still used AGP slots, when the ATI Radeon 9800 Pro was the GOAT.
I'm OG, bruh. I can do this. You know how many LAN parties I've been to?
If one of these parts doesn't fix it, my credentials are going to get revoked, for sure. Fast forward to January 16th. The memory sticks come in first. And honestly, I was kind of bummed because I wanted to try the CPU first. Wait, what?
Really, dude?
What about your super scientific rating system? CPU, okay. RAM, prob okay. Remember? Oddly enough, I started thinking maybe it was the CPU that went bad after all. But I also had a weird bias about the memory that clouded my judgment. I just assumed that they're one of the more durable components, similar to an NES cartridge or something like that. Those things never die unless one of the chips is physically broken. Otherwise, you just keep the pins clean and you're good to go. My memory stick looked really good after the IPA cleaning, so I was like, yeah, it's probably fine. So over time, just by process of elimination, I started thinking maybe the CPU got hit with too much current during the incident, and that's the part that's keeping this board from posting. But hey, all that being said, the memory is here first, so that's what we're trying first. By the way, it turns out I got to upgrade a little bit after all, from 8 gigs of RAM to 16. Hey! I install one of the memory sticks and I go to test it out. And nothing. Damn. I knew it was a CPU. It'll be here in a couple more days, oh well. But then, after about 10 more seconds, my TV gets signal and I'm looking at the ASUS BIOS screen.
Clearly, we have a bad memory module.
Alright, we got it working. The CPU isn't here yet, but this RAM just came in today. So I installed that, or installed one of them and it booted, so I was like, hell yeah. And then I put this SSD back in and it went back into Windows. I got my old desktop back and everything, so good to go. Last thing I want to test is the 1050 Ti. It's funny, when I booted this up, it actually said Saturday, October 19th. Let's see. Yeah, 11/11, make a wish, boys. Moment of truth. Time to try the 1050 Ti. Is it gonna work? Remember how much P this thing had on it? I install the card, swap the HDMI cord from the board to GPU, press power button, and... Alright, so we got the 1050 Ti back in there. And yeah, I was wrong because it actually f***ing works. I am shook. It's crazy. This thing, like, I had to go back and compare the footage, but this had so much cat piss on it. We actually had to take a big sticker that was on there off originally. Still wasn't entirely sure. I got, I had display, but I wasn't sure if the 3D would work, so I was just kind of stress testing it, even though this is a pretty old game. This is UTO4. Probably run this on a potato now, but got it, max resolution, max settings and everything, just kind of spectating a game, and looks like it's doing all right. I don't hear the card kicking into high gear or anything. Don't see any smoke coming out, so yeah, I think we're good. We're back. If I had known it was going to be this cheap, I definitely would have gotten on it a lot sooner, but just had other shit at the time. I remember when Houdini paid on this, it was during a time when I just could not spare any extra money at all, so now I'm doing a little bit better, and yeah, thankfully got this thing back. Got to return this laptop back to my brother and keep on trucking. I start a return for the CPU before it even arrives. Thankfully, the seller is chill about it. I cancel the return request for the board and tell them a different memory stick got it to post, and I apologize for the trouble. Part of me wanted to keep the CPU because it's a little better than my current i5, but I've already spent more on this repair than I wanted to. Speaking of which, here's the new tally. Barely kept it under budget, but hey, we out here. But there's still one more thing left to do. It's not enough to repair. We must also prevent. Because my cat is a menace and this could happen again. Plastic panel plus 3M dual lock. Blocks cat pee while still allowing airflow. Matches the look of my case. Simple, effective, sleek, low profile. A true marvel of engineering. I'm still going to replace the case at some point since I messed up the outside with 409 and made it look worse than my cat ever did. But for now this works and we're calling it. There's two big things I learned from this repair that I probably should have known going in, honestly. One is, most modern motherboards, including mine, have circuit protection in the event of a surge or liquid damage. Two, memory still gets a fair amount of power in sleep mode because it needs it to preserve the current state. In other words, my motherboard was probably fine all along and I should have tried replacing the memory first. The most likely scenario is that when my computer got peed on, the memory died because it was getting the most power at the time, and the motherboard won't run without memory, so that made it shut off instantly, which kept it safe along with the CPU. And then for the graphics card, I guess I just got lucky. That thing should be dead. I'd have to swap my other parts back over to the old board and test it to know for sure, but like I said, I'm over it and I'm too lazy to mess with all that now, so to the junk pile it goes. I can save it as a backup board or sell it as is when I clear out the rest of this stuff. I'll clean it again, don't worry. Funny to think I could have been back up and running within a week's time for $35 and half a bottle of isopropyl alcohol. And of course the ultrasonic bath for the graphics card. Instead, I spent 3 months and just shy of $100. Go me. Lesson learned. For now, I'm just happy to have my PC back. And as for Houdini, I'm gonna make sure that door doesn't get shut again. Little shit.
Really, dude?
She's my homie though.